What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Against All Odds podcast. I'm here with Danny. Danny, welcome, first off.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to give me your full name, your age, and your position?
All right. My name is Danny Gagliardi. I'm 24 years old from Miami, Florida. My family's from Brazil. And I'm a goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper. Okay, so let's roll the intro and let's get started. All right, so you said you're from Florida and you're Brazilian. Walk me through like what your family looks like, your parents, if you're brothers or sisters and all that stuff.
Okay, so my mom and dad are separated. I have one sister. She's 27, lives in New York. So my mom came over, I think, 88, 89, and my dad came over in 90, I believe. They met in Miami, got married in 93. Had my sister in 94, me in 97. We grew up in Broward County, which is just north of Miami. I was born and raised in Plantation, Florida. I grew up there, lived there my whole life, and then I went to college in Miami at Florida International University. But yeah, my family, so both my parents are Brazilian. Grew up very Brazilian household. I have an aunt, my dad's sister, that lives in Miami as well. And then pretty much the rest of my family lives in Brazil.
Okay.
And my dad's one of six, and my mom is just her and her brother.
Okay. And you can speak Portuguese?
Yes.
Even though the Portuguese players or the Brazilian players all make fun of you for your...
Yeah, so I regret it so much, but I think between 6 and 12, I didn't go to Brazil. And I just refused to speak Portuguese. My parents would speak to me in Portuguese, and I would respond in English. And I just, for whatever reason, was very stubborn and refused to speak Portuguese, and I regret it. Now, every time I'm with Brazilians, I try and speak it all the time, trying to improve my Portuguese, get it as good as I possibly can. But those influential years when you're like, it's best to learn a language, I refuse to speak it. So now
And you said you don't know why you did it, right?
I was just stubborn as a kid and refused to do it. Because like my sister, my parents only spoke to her in Portuguese until she got to like school. She started learning English. By the time I started speaking, my sister already learned English, and me and her only speak to each other in English, even to this day, unless we're trying to hide something from someone.
What's your sister do now? She's just up in New York, you said?
So she went to fashion. So she went to New York for fashion school. She went to the Fashion Institute of Technology up in New York. She graduated from there after 2 years, and then she started working in fashion. And now she works as a fabric developer. So she was just with Marc Jacobs, and she left. I think last week was her first week with Alexander Wang.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she loves it. She's a fabric developer. So for those of you who don't know, a fabric developer is pretty much she researches different types of fabrics, and whenever a designer wants to, with putting together an outfit or whatever, they could consult with her. Okay, what fabric do you think was best? What color do you want? And her job to research and find the fabrics that's best suits them.
Yeah, I've been like working on making like a t-shirt, and I want to make it like sports specific, like for training in. And like I've been working with this guy in Portland, and he's just like about fabric, and he's like, okay, what's the weight of the fabric that you're looking for? And it just goes like, the more you start doing research about it, the more details it gets. It's just crazy.
No, it's crazy. So like whenever I go to like the mall or store, my sister, she'll look at shirts and be like, oh, this is polyester, like just from looking and feeling it, and she'd be like, oh, this is that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And there's different blends, and then there's the
exactly.
proprietary blends, and then the weights of it, it's insane. And then not even to mention, like, you just think colors and patterns and stuff. That's like step one out of like all of it. That's cool though. And then did you go back to Brazil at all, like as a kid?
Oh yeah, all the time. So I said from 6 to 12 I didn't go for a while, but when I was younger we used to go like every year. And then it's been going less and less. The last time I went was New Year's of 2017. So that was a few years ago. I try and go as much as possible. It's a lot harder now.
Yeah.
I can only go in a certain time frame. But
yeah. What city?
Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo? Okay. That's like where Marlon and Rodrigo
Marlon and Rodrigo are from Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, when you go, do you like do the touristy things like in Rio de Janeiro and everything too?
Not really. I've never been to Rio. So I've never been to Rio. I've been to Sao Paulo. I've been to Bahia because my dad grew up in, spent like a good part of his life in Bahia, which is another state on the water. But I used to go to Sao Paulo. So my mom and dad's family live about 3 hours away from each other, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll spend like half the time with that with one family, then half time with the other. Kind of just do stuff around there.
Yeah, yeah. And then growing up in Miami, like, I mean, that's it, being from a Brazilian family as well. Was it just soccer?
Yeah. So first birthday present was a soccer ball.
Uh-huh.
I remember growing up, my dad was a big Corinthians fan, diehard.
Uh-huh.
And growing up, we couldn't do anything on Sundays because he had to watch the game. Like we couldn't do anything as a family. We had to be home so he could watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was growing up. And I realistically didn't really watch that much soccer, or like not even, only soccer I was ever exposed to until I was probably like 13 was like either Brazilian national team or Brazilian soccer, which watching Corinthians and stuff like that, because that's all my family knew. And then once I got older, I started watching like European soccer myself. I'm like, oh, okay, it's different. And then, but yeah, soccer. Miami is a big cultural hub for soccer, which is great, and has a lot of influence. And it's probably one of the best talent pools, because you'll see players from, you see like a lot of teams who were scouting Miami until Inter Miami came. But yeah, soccer is everywhere. But I played a lot of sports growing up.
What other sports?
I did karate. My first sport was actually karate.
Really? Not, what's the Brazilian
Jiu-jitsu.
form? Jiu-jitsu. Yeah, not jiu-jitsu.
I don't know. I don't think we found a jiu-jitsu thing around there, but my parents said karate. So I did karate. It was mostly to help with my self-control. So I was a trouble child. I was very ADD and energetic, and they wanted me mainly just to help me become more self-controlled and self-disciplined. So I did that, and then I started pretty much like the American, just every season. I did seasonal sports. I did soccer. I did basketball. I did American football. I did MMA. Karate eventually developed into MMA. But soccer and baseball were my two biggest, I would say. I played baseball up until my freshman year of high school. I made the freshman team in high school, but then I quit the next day because I didn't have time for that in soccer.
Yeah. I feel like freshman year is like always the year where you're like, have to decide. I did the same. I was basketball and soccer. I did the same thing. I did my freshman year, but then I was like, okay, like if I really want to realistically go to college from one of these, I need to choose.
Yeah, I think that was the same thing. I'm just like, I enjoy baseball, but I think I'll go further in soccer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick
I looked
to
at
that
myself
line.
in the mirror being a little white boy, and I'm like, you know what? Soccer's probably my sport, not basketball. Even though, I mean, there's still, not to say there's not white boys that play basketball. So growing up in Miami too, when you said your first present was a soccer ball. So were you just like constantly just playing like with your family, like growing up with like with your kids in your neighborhood, or was it more like organized?
More organized. I trained a lot. So me and my cousins always played together. But I think everything changed when I was around, like everything for soccer changed when I was probably around, I want to say 12 or 13. I went to Brazil for one summer and played soccer there. And when I came back, my goalie coach was because back then not every team had a goalie coach. So, and then now you see every team needs to have a goalie coach.
Yeah.
So my goalie coach
Isn't that crazy to think that you didn't have a goalkeeper coach like back then?
So I had, but it would be like, twice a week. We did the
same thing.
My assistant coach that year was our goalie coach. So I had him every single day, and I loved it. And his name is Giuseppe Weller, and he played a big part in my career, and still does to this day. So that's when I started working with a goalie coach every single day, and it really started developing. And I remember, so my club had a men's U23 team that played in like a local tournament and whatnot. And then for us, when we were like 14 or 15, they would start calling some of us to train with them. Oh, we need numbers. And I was one of them. So I remember I'd usually get to the park around like, I'd probably say like 5 or 6, do goalie training, train with my team. And then after training with my team, go train with the U23 team, and I was like, when we were so young, playing with such older guys, they gave us confidence and everything, and helped us grow at a faster pace. I think that's when a lot took off, because Miami's a big soccer hub, but like when and I was a little bit like I was in Broward County, I was in Plantation, so it wasn't like, it's not like Brazil where it's like every neighborhood has a little soccer court or a soccer field you go play on and whatnot. So I think that's when everything changed for me in soccer, was when I started working with Giuseppe on a regular basis, and then started working with older guys, and like I said, I was training like 3-4 hours a day. Yeah.
Giuseppe.
Weller.
What's he doing now?
He's the goalie coach for Miami FC, and he has his own goalkeeping academy,
Awesome.
And he also works with Nova Southeastern University. It's a D2 in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow, that's cool. And then okay, that makes sense. I mean, I always say to a lot of the people that come, and they're mainly from other countries, they always talk about like 15, 16 getting training with, the first team, or getting training with even the second team that's older, you like U23s. And I feel like you were in a good situation in America too to have that, because a lot of kids 15, 16 don't get the opportunity to do that. So
my club director he's American but played in Germany. And then one of the other directors was Tunisian. And so they had a very European or non-American mindset, and they were big on developing. And I remember I talked to my goalie coach recently, and he spoke to the Tunisian coach. His name was Anis, and he spoke to Anis one time. And Anis was my head coach. Giuseppe was the assistant / goalie coach. And Anis they were at training. And I see all these players looking at the entire club. They're like, 1% of these players will make it. And he said that. And then this past off season, we had me and a group of friends that would play together our whole lives. We're training nonstop. And then we went out one day and we took a picture. And there was 5 of us. 5 of us from the same club all made it pro. And I remember talking to Giuseppe about that. I'm just like, do you remember when he said only 1% of us would make it, and then we have 5 from the same team? And it's a really good picture, and it's all 5 of us together, and we're all playing pro,
awesome.
Which is cool. It's cool because we all went on our different journeys and took our own paths, and then we all ended up getting where we wanted to and came together, and we're still all very close friends, which is a big part of it.
That's awesome. Send me that picture. I'll put it up there. Yeah, that's sick. Where are those guys playing now?
So one of them is Andrew Booth. He was drafted to Minnesota, but then signed with Greenville. So he's with Greenville right now in USL League One. Nick Hines, who's playing for Nashville on loan to Austin Bold. Crystal Young, who is playing for Inter Miami's USL team, Fort Lauderdale. And then Jonathan Lewis, who plays for Colorado Rapids in the U.S. men's national team.
Awesome. That's sick. Yeah, I'll throw that picture up when you talk about it. Okay. That's really sick. Yeah, I similarly, like in college, kind of like the same thing. Like my college coach said something of like, look, like you guys it's all about focusing on education, which is true, because I mean, in college, especially at that age, it's like, you have a chance of getting drafted for sure. But even then, you gotta like, it basically just say you need to focus on education in school. And he's like, only one of you probably from this team is going to be pro, and like me and my housemates were all like, oh no, like we all had the same mindset. We wanted to go play pro no matter what. School was important, but pro, we wanted that. And out of that house of like 5 guys, 4 of us ended up making it.
No, yeah, and
like into the pro level.
When you're surrounded by the right people with the right mindset, you push each other to go further.
Yeah, because then you're like looking at like, it's not even like, maybe a little bit of jealousy too, where you're like looking at them and like your friends doing it. You're like, I train with him. I know I can do it too.
No, and I think that's a big part. So Andrew, the one that's at Greenville right now, him and I both went to FIU together, and we went same year. We redshirted and stayed all 5 years together. So me and him played a big role in each other's careers, and I think he pushed me a lot, and we were always there for each other. And he's one of my closest friends. And then you look at John, the one who's on the national team, and he was the first one of us to break out. He had trials in England and whatnot. He actually went and played in England for a little bit, came back, played a year at Akron, got a GA, and's been playing ever since.
Yeah.
And I'll never admit this to him, but he pushes me, and I know all of us to go further, because we see where he's at, and we all we want to be there. And then Nick took a different route. Nick went to Akron as well. After 2 years, dropped out, signed with Tacoma. He was a Seattle homegrown. But he was pushing. Seattle never signed him, and then Nashville just signed him this year. It was his first year MLS. So like I said, we all took different routes. And then Chris was an interesting story, because he went to West Point at first, left after a year, went to a JUCO, was at the JUCO, play, and then couldn't find a team. And in the last ditch, was able to go to Akron because of John put a recommendation for him. And then he redshirted because he was in that whole span of trying to find a team, he didn't play for 6 months. Yeah. Anyways, redshirted, ended up doing very well, ended up signing with Fort Lauderdale. So we all have very different journeys. Yeah. It's a crazy thing.
That's the thing too. you're never too, even if you have your friend group that's all pushing and going for it and a great mindset, it's never going to be like, oh, all same year you all sign pro.
Yeah, yeah.
Like maybe, and maybe it does happen, but same thing. Like Ramon Martin del Campo was like the first one of our house to sign. He signed with Saprissa in Costa Rica, like killed it. And he was like that breakout player, did really well. And the rest of us were like, some of us were redshirting like a few years, doing an extra year of school. Like I was like searching for a contract, failing, but it's like everybody's story is different to get there. But like over time, like, the cream does rise to the top.
And it really is. And like I said, we push each other a lot in this off season. We were to get like every single day.
So everybody comes back to Miami.
Everybody comes back to Miami. And then, so we actually have a really good thing going in the off season. So we have my goalie coach who brings in, which would be me, and there'll be like 2 or 3 other pro keepers will train us, and then they'll bring. This is the first year we brought the field players in, and they would do finishing and stuff like that on us, so it'd be more realistic. So we did that. Then all of us would leave and go straight to the gym. We have a really good trainer back there too. We train with him, and then we would rest, and then usually at night we play pickup. So a lot of guys come in the off season and play pickup. Like one year we had Jack Harrison there. We had Sebastian Berhalter. Ada Morris. We have a lot.
Why would you not want to go to Miami?
And we have a lot of the Inter Miami guys as well. So we have a good group.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We have a good thing going on the offseason.
You could freeze up in Portland, or you can come down to Miami.
And this year was perfect because Miami is one of the only places that were open.
Yeah. So you got some good training in for sure. I know because like some states, like in off season, players are like all like the fields are literally closed. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like that sucks for you. Like that's terrible.
Miami was open nonstop, and it's warm, so we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so rewinding a little bit. You said that you had the breakout year of like where everything kind of clicked with training and kind of progressing. Was that, you said like 14?
Yeah, around there. 14, 15, I would say.
Okay. So from like age 5 to 13, at that stage, were you thinking like, I want to be a pro? Were you kind of just, was soccer more of just a sport that you love, but you didn't really were thinking about?
At first, I really enjoyed playing sports in general. I'm a big competitor. I love to win. And I just enjoyed playing sports. And then I want to say as I got older, I was a really big kid, first of all. When I went into high school around 6'1". So I have pictures of my team, like everyone's like down here and then I'm like all the way up here.
Yeah.
So I was dominant in goal from that age, like at that age.
Oh, and did you like from the earliest age, were you always a goalkeeper too?
Yes. Okay. I remember my dad was my first coach playing for like a rec league. And then I'm like, Dad, I don't want them to score, put me in. So I played in goal like my whole life. So that is one thing. I did play in goal my whole life.
Your dad didn't be like, no, you're not going to be a goalkeeper.
I feel like, so I was one of the time, like at that age, you could play on the field and then go into goal or something. So I did both, but from the beginning, you could see I was good in goal. And I kind of just stuck with that. And then
if you're a big kid too.
Yeah. Then when I got to my first travel team, I'm like, nah, I'm going to be in goal, played in goal, everything. Okay. It went like that. But, no, and then once I started getting like later middle school, I started to think like, yeah, I want to play pro. Whether it was baseball or soccer, I wanted to play pro. And then soccer just took off, I think.
And like at that age too, were you thinking, I know it's early, even in middle school, but were you thinking like the typical American route of going to college? No. You were thinking just straight pro?
I didn't want to go to college. I almost didn't go to college, actually. I'm thinking like Brazilian mindset, I'm going to go play. Yeah. When I was 17, I actually went on trial and played in São Paulo for a little bit for the team São Paulo. Yeah. I was there and on trial. So I had my Brazilian passport and everything, and they graded me on a system of like 1 to 5. And they put me at like 5 being your best, probably the best in your age at this point, and then 3 is probably like the level we are here. Yeah. And most of my ratings were 3. I think I got like a few 2 point somethings. And then so you're about level where our keepers are here. But in order for us to take you, I was 16, 17, we want you to be above where then we have no point in taking you. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. Went back, played in the States. And then after I graduated high school, my senior year of high school, I played for Kendall Academy because I played for Plantation FC my whole life. And then 2 of our coaches left Plantation and went to Kendall, which is one of the academies. It was one of the only 2 academies in South Florida at the time. So they left and went to coach the U18s, and they were trying to bring players over. And then me, John, and Nick got called to a U.S. youth camp and we got sat down there. We were the only 3 players that weren't for on our academy team. That's around the time where academy started taking off.
Yeah.
And they sat us down and go, listen, if you want to have a future in this program, you need to go to academy. So we're like, okay. Went to Kendall. So I went to Kendall. Halfway through the year, I had an interest from Montreal Impact for me to go there. I think it was around January. I was gonna go for a week on trial there with their academy, and I got this through my goalie coach, because my goalie coach did like a coaching course and met Yusuf Daha, who was the head goalie coach at Montreal for the first team. And this is an important thing because it ties in later on in my career, which is crazy.
Which usually stuff like it does. Yeah.
I got called, but my academy director did not allow me to go. And he was just
That's crazy.
So he was just like, oh, Danny, if you're going to play another year of academy, why don't you just play at Kendall? I'm just like,
Montreal Impact? Or
exactly. I'm just like, are you comparing yourself to an MLS? I won't say his name because he's still in the academy system. He's at MLS Academy now. But
I wonder if he still thinks the same. Right?
So it didn't allow me to go. The season ended, whatever. I actually missed we actually ended up playing Montreal in the academy playoffs, but I missed it because I tore a ligament in my thumb. So I didn't go. And then the day we played Montreal, I was actually in Montreal getting a tour of the facility, which was a funny thing. And then I had already committed to FIU at this point. And then I had this interest in Montreal, and they wanted me to go on trial with the USL team because back then they had a USL team.
Yeah.
And I told the FIU coaches, I'm like, hey, I got called on trial. I don't know if I'm going to come this year. So I went on trial, and they said I did really well the first 3 days. And they're like, we could put you on the academy team, or you can go to college, and then we'll keep an eye on you. And I'm at that point, knowing what I know now, I would have stayed and been play at MLS Academy because I know how homegrowns are and everything. Yeah. Knowing what I know now, but back then I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna go to college. Forget this.
It's hard to because I think right around those years is when it really started to switch, because like academy was a new thing. Like people have to realize too, it was a newer thing. It's not like today where it's so established.
So my freshman year, academy players could still play high school.
Yeah.
And then they switched out my sophomore year. So that's when you see like that started to make the shift. And then I didn't know, back then I didn't know anything about homegrowns, this and that. Like that system wasn't in place. There wasn't any MLS academy. The closest one was Orlando, and they were just starting off too as an academy.
Yeah, because like, I mean, even for me growing up, we had 1 year, my U16 year, an academy team started, FC Portland, and then after that it folded. So like that was my entire youth career. That was the only academy system I could have potentially even gotten into. And I was like, oh, it's a lot of money. I tried out. They're like, yeah, maybe. I was like, no, it's fine. Like,
and the academies by me, you had to pay for. It's not like an MLS academy where everything's paid for you. Yeah. It's a lot of money.
It was. I think mine was like $5-6 grand for the year.
Yeah,
like
it was crazy. A lot. It's crazy. Like
a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, it's just different, and it's good. Now you're seeing so many academy players and homegrown sign early.
Development is crazy, and
it's
the steps U.S. soccer has taken is massive. And I think it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah,
especially with the U23 league coming up.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's interesting though. So you had to choose between college soccer and academy.
So I remember I went to my orientation and they're just doing all the meetings. I snuck away from my orientation, went to go talk to the head coach. Me and him like talking for like an hour and everything. Like, yeah, so excited. I'm like, for the year. I'm like, so yeah, that's something I gotta tell you. And I talked to him. His name was Scott Calabrese. He's at UCF now. And I'm like, so yeah, I might go on trial. So we went and like spoke to the what's her name? We spoke to like the, oh my God, what's the word I'm thinking of? The person that helps you with like your
advisor?
Classes. Yeah, our advisor. Yeah. And she told me, okay, yeah, if you're gonna go for it, maybe take a gap year. You can still take some courses. You just can't take too many. So we talked about that, and I looked at maybe taking online courses, whether it's like online courses from like local school in Montreal or a school in Montreal itself. So we talked about that, but then I ended up coming back my freshman year.
Yeah, it's always funny too, because it's like sometimes you think, oh, like the route might have been better, but then also you never know.
Exactly, you never know.
And it worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just one of the things. Like I look at it, like last year in Miami's USL team. I look at the academy system and how big, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had this when I was their age. And I'm just like, and now I know like everything about homegrowns and like the development side of it. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have stayed, but can't look back on it too much, you know.
Definitely. And then, so how did FIU come up? Was that through, actually before that, with Plantation FC and with Kendall, how often were you guys training? Like, was it every day?
Plantation was every day. Plantation was where I started where they had the men's team.
Oh, okay.
And then Kendall, I think we trained Monday through Thursday. I think we had Fridays off.
That's good. If Plantation FC, and that wasn't a academy team, it was just a normal club team. That's a good setup for a normal club
that's
team.
That's where the 5 of us played at. Well, one of them, Chris, he played there when he was younger, left, went to another club, academy and whatnot. But that's where they had a good setup. I think we had a good mindset there. And me and like a few of us, if we weren't training with our team, we were training with a different team. There was a few of us who would go every day regardless if our team trained or not.
Yeah, that's so nice. I mean, it's crazy to even think about it. Like my club team trained twice a week, and like I was like, my coach was like, okay, I'll hold the optional one on Sundays. I was there every Sunday with like 3 other guys and doing random drills. It's just like I was like wanting to do more, and it's just like it's just crazy that a club team. And this was the highest level too. It's not like it was a random local.
It's where you could.
It was the academy setups of today.
No, yeah, and I looked at it like. That's why I said Giuseppe played an influential role, because Giuseppe did goalie training. Because he worked at that point, he worked for the club, for Plantation. So he'd be like, okay, goalie training at this time. So I remember I used to get there early with him and help with the younger group and help coach the younger kids. And then when it got to the older kids, that's when I jump in. And I would also jump in with the younger kids a lot of times. But then like I was around it so much, and then like, I'd be okay, men's team need a goalie, Danny, you want to go? Or this team needs a goalie, Danny, you want to go? I'm like, okay, so I'd just be jumping around.
Yeah, and I mean, getting to play with like 23-year-old men, full grown men at 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Even now with like Pearson and Jesus and Tony and these guys training with us.
Great.
So nice. Like my first experience training with when I was 22 after college. Like it was after college when I did that for the first time.
So yeah, last year in Miami, we had a 15-year-old. And he was good. He's actually a homegrown. He was their first ever homegrown. But he, like, you look at his ability wise, you're like, he's good. He's just small, so he gets bullied off the ball. But like, I'm like, give him time. Give him some time playing at this level.
Because then you learn like you can't, like at 15, if you have that ability, you can also body off guys as well. But then with full grown men, you have to play a little bit faster. You stick to your strengths and all this stuff. And you learn so much so quick. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I had a little bit of an advantage. I was
you're big.
Taller than most of them as it was.
Because you're 6'3", right?
Yeah, around there.
And how much do you weigh?
210.
Yeah, you're a big guy. You're always in the gym too, lifting 500 pounds, doing the trap bar deadlift, 500 pounds. I joked about that today, lifting it up. My arms would just come out of my sockets.
Did you actually try to lift it?
No.
Oh, no.
Sean was like, "Hey, Shelly, hop in for a set." I'm like, yeah, no, my arms would just go.
I do enjoy the gym a lot, and my trainer, I talk about, his name's Andy. He actually played pro in England for a little bit. He played at Newcastle for like the U23s and got released, and then he was on trial at Leeds. And it was between him and someone else for the spot. And the other guy won it. His name was James Milner.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's very intellectual, and he has a soccer background, which is huge. So a lot of times you get trainers that have baseball backgrounds or football backgrounds, and they don't understand the movement and stuff. But he knows what he's doing. He works with NASM, the National Association of Sports Medicine, and he helps write some of their stuff and teach courses. And he's very intellectual and everything. I think I met him when I was, I want to say 16. I've been working with him.
Good age to meet a trainer.
I've been working with him since, and I loved it. Every off season, every summer, I'd be with him.
Yeah. Is the stuff you do now, is it still like his program?
It's not his program. So when I went to college, I studied sports and exercise science, and I started my master's program in kinesiology. So like I said, I do enjoy it. So a lot of stuff is like, a lot of exercises are his. Like I take, it's like you do from soccer. You take from some people what you like, and so I do a lot of his exercises, but it's not necessarily his program.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's exact same. The only problem for me is at 14, 15, when I started getting to the gym, the first people I worked out with was the football coaches.
Yeah.
And then it was another guy who showed me stuff, but he wanted to be a bodybuilder. So those were my influences in the gym. Especially at that time too. all the soccer players were like, no, you don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I want to. I'm tiny. I was the opposite of you. I was 5'1", 100 pounds freshman year. So it was all like, everybody was like, yeah, you're good. You're fast. You're technical, but you're just too small to play varsity or whatever. So for me, I was like, I need to get in the gym. And the only people really doing the gym work were football players. So
it's interesting because like I started off with him, and like I said, he had a soccer background.
Yeah.
When I met him, he was working at a gym called The Chamber, which is owned by Chris Chambers, who was a former Dolphins player at the time. So that was a big thing. But I was one of the only soccer players there. I met him through my goalie coach as well, Giuseppe. I think he was working out there. But the program would be slightly different for me than everyone else. But I was working out with like baseball, football players, and then off season, or depending on the season, there would be some pro, either football, baseball, whatever players in there. And I think me and one of our friends were the only soccer players there. And then now we have a group. We have enough soccer players, so we have our own soccer player group. Yeah. But like off season, I would remember one summer I was working out with Michael Vick. And then I'm just like, okay. And then next one, like a few summers ago, I was working out with Jorge Soler, who's a big name in baseball right now. And
that's
it's just
awesome.
like, so it's like, it's
high performance center.
So then Andy eventually left and opened up his own gym. And I've been working with him at his own gym, and he takes his clients here and there. I've worked like this offseason, worked with a few football guys. But yeah, so like, it's good that we have a soccer group now, so it's more soccer specific. Yeah. But even then, I'm a little bit different than I'm a goalie. That's why I do my own workouts in the gym, because I'm like, my position is different than y'all. I'm going to need to do more explosive stuff. Yeah,
you don't need to be doing the high endurance, muscular endurance type stuff.
Exactly.
So did you continue the same strength program through college, or did you do the college program?
No, so college, mostly work out in the spring. Yeah. And whenever we got to the spring, I always worked with the strength coach. I would always be like I was that annoying person who would always be talking to the strength coach. And I would, I think we had like 4 different strength coaches when I was there. We had a good amount of different strength coaches, but I would always like get along with them because I would understand the work. Most soccer players don't know how to work out properly. And that's just, especially the European guys. So, and then especially when you get to college, a lot of people are doing like, sometimes you do power lifts or Olympic lifts and they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah. And so I'd always work with them. They understood. I knew what I was doing. And when I was in school, I'd work with a strength coach, but if I was in the summer or even in winter, I would work with Andy. Yeah.
Okay. And then I see you down there all the time doing extra lifts and everything, but what's your ideal workouts per week? How many do you do?
Let's say if we have a game on Saturday, ideally I'd want to work out Monday through Friday. And then Friday would usually be a lighter lift, just get blood flow going, circulation. And
is it heavy weight all 5 days, or
no?
Or 4 days with Thursday?
It depends on the program, but right now I'm doing I'm doing power day on Wednesday, which is what I did today. Which is why you had 500 pounds on the bar. Well, I did the trap bar, and then onto the box. It's called PAP training, post activation potentiation. It pretty much, so your muscles recruit, and you have different type of fibers, and your muscles recruit on the size principle from type 1, which is the slowest fiber, to the fastest. So in order for you to increase your power, sometimes you want to decrease that recruitment time. So that's what PAP training is for. It's to help you to activate them in a short amount of time. So you do the heavy weight. So that's why I'm lifting a heavy weight right now. I'm recruiting those muscle fibers, and then when I have to explode off the ground, I don't have that weight anymore, and those fibers are already recruited.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like that. Like, it looks very applicable, even like you kind of, it's like almost like the same idea of like with the baseball players with the weight on the bat, doing that, and then also you take it off.
So there's many different forms of doing it, and you see there's way more research now, and you see a lot more teams implementing it. Yeah. So when I was at Vancouver, that's even in preseason, we were doing that as well. We were doing PAP training.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then so at FIU, how was your experience there?
I was great. Yeah. If I could do it over again, I would go back to FIU. I was in Miami, which was great, especially it's where you want to be in college.
And did you want? Yeah, Miami is not a bad place to be. Did any part of you want to go like to a different like state entirely, or were you like, no, Miami is going to be a good spot?
I wasn't opposed to it, but I also was happy I was in Miami. So like I said, I redshirted my freshman year, and then I almost transferred out after my redshirt sophomore year. So my junior redshirt sophomore year.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really play much. I wasn't a regular starter at FIU until my senior year, my last year there. So like my freshman year, I redshirted. Then my redshirt freshman year, I started 6 games, I think, and one of them was the conference final. And that was only because the keeper got injured. And then we switched coaches. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm going to be the starter next year. I'm good. We switched coaches. I had a really bad spring. And then coming next year, I played 2 games. I started one, which was like our 4th game of the season, something like that. Didn't play again until the first round of NCAA tournament when 5 minutes in, our starting keeper goes down with a hamstring injury. So I came in 5 minutes and I hadn't played all season, came in 5 minutes into the NCAA tournament.
Jeez.
And it was probably one of my best college performances with that game. But then I didn't play the next game. We made it to the next round. I didn't play. Then next year I played 5-6 games, I think. And then my senior year I played every single minute. So I didn't have like that typical goalkeeper route of like, if most goalkeepers, pro goalkeepers, you see like maybe they didn't play 1 or 2 years, but they started their last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Or I know one who like redshirted freshman year, played next 4. So like I didn't play much until my senior year. And after the year I played 2, I remember going into my coach. We had our individual meetings, and everyone was like 15 minutes. I think mine was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I sat there. I sat there with the coach. I'm like, I think I want to transfer. He's like, and me and him had a long discussion. I'm like, I didn't get a chance this year. I got 1 chance, and keep in mind that year we went undefeated and we were a top 10 team.
Yeah.
So like my coach was like, well, we're winning. Why am I going to change things?
Yeah.
Me and him went back and forth. I decided to stay. Cause I think the main reason I wanted to stay, it would have been the easier option was to stay in terms of like, yeah, I'm comfortable here and this and that.
Yeah.
And I was willing to take the risk and go somewhere else. But something inside me wanted to stay and fight for that spot and be like, I want it.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason I stayed. And I had a lot of people telling me that they thought, like remember talking to a lot of people. I'm just like, what do you think I should do? And like one of my best friends, Andrew, we and him sat down and was like, listen, like, I haven't told you shit, but I want you to stay. I think it might be better for you to transfer, but I would want you to stay. And had a long conversation, did a lot of self-reflecting, but ended up staying. It worked out.
That's a tough. I mean, that's like too in college. So many players get there. And I mean, because every time you go up a level, you go from, academy or club to college to semi-pro. Yeah, you're always back at the bottom. And now you're competing again to become the man again for that spot. And it's always tough. And a lot of players, like when they face that, like a lot of times that's their first time facing that in college. And so it's like a lot of players either like crumble or they overreact sometimes. Even at that, I've seen players that first year when there's 2 senior goalkeepers ahead of them, like, why am I not starting? Transfer out, transfer. They don't have enough like integrity to like stick it out. And then I've also seen it the opposite, where it's like almost you stick it out without, like, if there's somebody who's younger than you starting and even just better than you or whatever.
I think
so. It is a tough decision that you have to weigh, yourself.
I think one of the most valuable things I learned in college, and I attribute this to my coach, Kevin, is that I learned how to understand the goalkeeper role better, because at the end, most teams only one goalie is going to play.
Yeah.
And you got to learn that. And if you're number 2, your job is to push the starter as much as possible. Your job is to fight for that position while also pushing the starter. And I remember, like, when I taught a discussion about transferring, we talked like you stay and fight and make a case for yourself. And I was training amazingly, but I would make some mistakes and I get frustrated. And my coach is like, listen, I think you're too focused on yourself right now. Put the team first. With the work rate you have, put the team first, and the rest will follow. And then that's when everything got so much easier. Because my junior year, when I played like 5 games, everyone on my team, like, I was there supporting the team. I supported the number 2, and it made it way easier. Because when you only think about yourself, it gets frustrating. You're thinking this and that. But then when you're, and me and that keeper have a great relationship. He plays for Austin right now, Austin Bold, and me and him have a great relationship on and off the field. And I think that was a big instrumental part of it. And
Yeah, it's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, and especially learning it at that age, I think it was good. But I do think to an extent it did hinder me a lot because goalkeeper is a position all about experience. And I think I played 30 something games my whole college career out of like 120 possible games, something like that. So it's just like I didn't get the experience I necessarily needed, but I learned a lot of valuable things outside of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's always pros and cons, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always pros and cons because, like, I mean, I did the same exact thing. Like, I got in a very fortunate role at Davis where I came in and the people I was playing striker back then, playing striker.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, scoring goals left and right, baby. But I was playing striker, but like the senior striker out with a season-ending knee injury. Second striker was like a junior. He got in a huge fight with the coach, completely like suspended for like weeks. And then the next striker that was young, like a sophomore, just had a bad attitude in general, didn't work hard. So me and the other freshmen came 9 and 10, like first game, you know? And then so we did well and held that. But then around like my sophomore year, it was kind of like we brought in some more strikers and I kind of like was out, like in and out. I played every game, but it was like I didn't start every game. And like my attitude back then was a little like pretty bad. Like it was very all about me. We would win a game 3-0.
So that's a big thing. That's a big thing. You know, a freshman. We had a few freshmen on our team. Like one of the year they played a lot their freshman year.
Yeah.
And their sophomore year, they're like, they walk in thinking they have it. And you see a lot in college. Some freshmen have really good freshman years.
Yeah.
And their sophomore year, they think like they don't have to work as hard, and it's a big reality check.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just like upset with like. Just like anytime, like it was just all about me. My performance was how happy I was, you know. It was good because I was so competitive to be on the field, but it was overboard to being where it was like negativity. Like I would show it to my teammates, you know, even before games, after games, all that kind of stuff. And
so I'll talk about Ugo, the one that is playing at Austin right now. So he was the one who came in and he started the year. I only played 2 games, and then next year he didn't have a good year. And me and him have talked about it. And the biggest thing is that he was really focused on himself. And me and him have had this discussion about it. And then once I remember one time I was starting, he was mad, and he came up and we had a great game. We beat Kentucky, who was the number 3 team in the nation. Like, Danny, I hope you know I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad that I'm not starting. I'm like, Hugo, I completely understand. Me and him have had this conversation that once you realize, like, once you put the team first and once you're just pushing yourself and happy with the result, like it comes way easier. And he had a phenomenal junior year, the year we went undefeated and everything. And then his senior year fell short. Our team didn't do well that year either. But then like he was so caught up in trying to be something he wasn't. And focusing on all the little bad things, and it took a big toll. And me and him have had this conversation before, and we've been open about it. And like I said, like he had that conversation, like, Danny, I'm not mad at you. I'm like, I understand, because I felt the same way when I wasn't starting and he was. And I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't hope he messed up.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I need something to happen for me to get in, type thing. But I'm never hoping another keeper gets injured or there's a mistake. I'm never hoping that. Yeah. But it's one of the things, like, if I ever wanted to get in, that's what needed to happen. And it was and me and him, it's interesting because we've been on both sides of the coin. Yeah. In college, between one year and the next, and now me and he said one of the biggest things he said he'd learned from me is that I was always positive. Whether I was playing or I wasn't, I was very positive and pushing him and myself. Yeah. And it makes it easier, because when you're mad that you're not playing and you're focusing on every little bad thing, you're like, fuck this, that, and then it just gets harder and harder. It's a bigger mountain to climb. But when you're like, okay, next one, let's go, then you're pushing the next person, you're happy, and then it comes out the competitive side, like, okay, he made this great save, can I make the great save? And it's like, in a good way, not like a bad way, and more in the bad way, you're like, damn it, I didn't make that good save, but he did. When you're positive, it's way easier. So me and him have had this great relationship. Yeah, because being positive doesn't mean that you're like okay, like stepping back and not being. You want to start. You're still super competitive. It's like you have, and that's what you have to learn. It's like balancing 100% support for the team and being in that supporting role with 100% competitiveness. I want to be a starter. This is, it's for me, but it's like balancing the two. It's hard. It's very hard, and the keeper role is a very unique spot because like as a field player, you can get subbed on, have a good 10 minutes, and then
you can play different positions.
Or you play different, or you can maybe start the next. Okay, you get subbed on, play 10 minutes. Okay, you'll start the next game. Keeper is usually one playing.
Yeah.
And it's very rarely you change keepers in season unless something traumatic happens. But I'm very happy I learned that at an early age rather than getting to a pro career and being like, what the fuck is this? Well, I have no idea what's going on. Just going through everything I went through mentally. Then I think that was a blessing in disguise for me.
Yeah. Well, a big part for me too was I was thinking that if I wasn't starting or I wasn't getting enough minutes, it was college, you do so many subs. So I wanted to be on the field longer too. And I was like so mad about not getting more minutes because all I was thinking about too was just not even winning the tournaments or winning our conference. It was all about, for me, can I get enough goals in order to get drafted? Of course. That was all that was going through my head.
That's you know, and
it's like that. It's like, I don't know if it was Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, but it was like you focus on like winning and just the moment of winning and doing what the team needs. The individual accolades will take care of itself. Because my best season, I just wanted to win. I was just playing to win, good attitude, playing, and I had my most goals ever. Yeah. And then my senior year, when I was more focused on goals and can I get drafted, I scored like half the goals that I did the previous year. So I don't know if it's like correlated 100%, but
yeah. I think it has a big role in it. I think because I think when you focus on you nonstop, like you pick about every little detail. And then when you focus on doing what you can to help the team, you're frustrated that you may have made a mistake, but it's not like you're not bringing yourself down. You're like, I gotta do better for the team. I can't afford to let the team down. I can't. Yeah.
And or even like little things like in the box too, like making the decoy run near post to open up another run. It was just, no, I'm going to be the guy who scores. And then I don't draw the guy out and then nobody scores, you know? Or all those little tiny things, trying to take a shot when another guy's a little bit more open. And then now your team loses and now you're not getting the accolades because nobody cares if you don't make the NCAA tournament, you know? And so that was big. And then so with FIU, just experience overall too, not just on the field, like with the guys, the team.
We were a family. Yeah. We did everything together. Like I told you, Andrew Booth is one of my best friends and a brother. And we played together since we were 10.
That's so cool too that you guys got to the same school.
We went to Kendall. We went from Plantation to Kendall together. And then from Kendall, FIU. And it was, and I'm like, I think the Miami Herald did an article on us our senior year because they interviewed us for, our team was doing really well. We were ranked, everything, and did an article on us. And the guy who wrote it thought he was going to do more about like the two players helping each other. Then when he got to the interview, I talked about like, oh yeah, me and Andrew growing up since we were 10 together, been to each other's houses, family dinners, everything. And wrote a beautiful article about, not necessarily about us and he wrote about FIU and the team, how it was doing well, but it was more about me and him and our friendship and like how everything. And I think he played a major role in my development throughout senior year because like whenever I was mad and everything, I'd talk to him about it and him vice versa.
Yeah, I remember those nights, like especially when you guys live together. Yeah. When you're living together with your teammates too, and one of you's frustrated, wants to work on something off season, like you just go into each other's room and just like hang out and talk.
I tell him we still have our group chat from like our senior year room, and I talk to him. I miss college so much, just sitting in the living room talking shit, all of us like. And there's one thing like me and Andrew together, like friends for so long and knew each other, like we knew each other's like habits and like stuff. It was just That's awesome. College was such a great experience for me too. Like same thing. Now you got drafted right after senior year. Were you expecting that to like, how did that whole thing work? So senior year happened. We fell a little short. We were expected to make NCAA tournament, but we didn't. Crazy events, whatever. It didn't happen. Got invited to New York Red Bulls combine because that's when they're trying to get rid of the MLS combine. Everything, it was the first year they didn't have like the official MLS combine. So a lot of teams had their own individual combines. So I went to New York Red Bulls. I was one of 4 keepers, only American, which is big for a keeper. Did well. I left and I talked to my coach at FIU and he said, oh yeah, they think you're the best keeper there. They're probably considering you more for USL team. I'm like, okay, yeah. Went to another combine, the Midwestern, did well there. So then this one, they they made like a profile for you, like highlight tape, all this stuff, like stats and everything. And that's when because of that, I'm like, oh shit, I got to get my highlight tape together. So I went and made my highlight tape for my senior year, posted it on there. Don't know how this happened, but Yusuf Daha, the head coach who was at Montreal, is now at Vancouver. Gets a hold of my highlight tape, and they're looking for a number 2 keeper who is able to play certain style. And they get to my highlight tape and instantly calls Giuseppe. So I hear about this. I hear that my highlight tape got to Vancouver. So I called Giuseppe. I'm on the phone with Giuseppe. He's like, are you calling me because of the phone call I just had? I'm like, were you on the phone with Yusuf? He goes, yes. So then that's how everything started there. So they were looking for a number 2. The number 1 was actually at Montreal when I was there and I trained with him. His name is Maxime Crepeau. Okay. And now the starter at Vancouver. So they wanted,
okay. And then I'm so glad you said that too, because like with the highlight video, like I stress so much importance on highlight videos and CVs, like having that, because it's like, yeah, you can get recruited in person still to this day, easy, but like, of course, why would you, if you have a highlight video, anybody can get their hands on it. It can get passed around. Old coaches can pass it around. It's just crucial. And so you're like, this all came from a highlight video that you scrambled and put
then
together.
It fell on the hands of someone that I knew from years previous. So that's how it's crazy how it all came back together.
And did you make it yourself?
Or? Yes, I made it myself.
So did you do it in like iMovie?
iMovie. I literally on iMovie sat there, figured out how to do it on iMovie myself, made it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, that's how it's just crazy, because so many players too at that point would just be like, oh no, it will work itself out. We'll see what happens. But by being proactive,
I wasn't leaving it a chance.
By being proactive though, that's where the opportunities come. And so many players are like, I just can't catch a break. It's not working out for me. You know, it's rigged or whatever. It's like, you're not being proactive. You're not emailing coaches. You're not creating the highlight videos. So I'm really happy that's how it worked.
So
that's cool. I didn't know that too.
So Vancouver needed number 2. So showed interest, and I haven't told anyone this. But so wait, the draft list comes out and I see my name on it, and then I was talking to the coach at FIU. He goes, "Oh, I think it's gonna be a good week. I think it's gonna be a good week for us. This and that." Because I didn't know this at the time, but Red Bull's coach called him and saw that my name was on the draft list. They didn't put it on there, but they're like, okay, we're gonna take him. They saw it and they're like, okay, we're gonna take him second round.
A little bit of leverage.
Yeah. So like, I guess they want another team get me, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they had the 35th pick, something like that. They had like low 30s pick. I'm like, okay. So then day before the draft, I went to training. I get a text from Mark Dos Santos, who is the head coach of Vancouver. Hey Danny, it's Mark Dos Santos. I was wondering if we can get a call later, talk this and that. I'm like, yeah, of course, this and that. So I'm just like, okay, something's happening here. Spoke to him and he told me, and then right before he hung up, he goes, oh, by the way, we're taking you number 32nd if you're still on the board tomorrow. And he's like, don't tell anyone. I haven't told anyone this to this day. I don't think I've told anyone. So I knew the day before.
And you didn't tell your parents? You didn't tell anybody? Or?
I told Giuseppe, my goalie coach. After I got off the phone, I texted him like, hey, they told me they're taking me 32nd.
Dang.
And I didn't tell my parents or anything. I wanted to be a surprise.
How hard was that? Just to
it was so hard.
Were you telling like your parents like, hey, watch the draft tomorrow? Like,
no, my parents knew, because like we knew we had the draft going on. And it was like the first year they weren't like televising it. It wasn't like a big event how it normally was. It was all virtual. This is before COVID too. This is like, so everything was virtual. So my parents, we talked about it. And me and Andrew planned on watching it together. And I thought I knew Andrew had a great year as well. I'm like, Andrew's gonna get drafted the first 2 rounds. So I went from there. This was probably like 9 o'clock at night. I went and got 2 bottles of champagne. Brought it home. We went to training in the morning. Did goalie training, did the gym. We left. I went to Andrew's house to watch it. We had it all set up, and I pull out the champagne. He's like, you got champagne? I'm like, I gotta be ready. We're watching it. The first round goes by, and they cut off the TV, the stream. Yeah. Because at that point, it was just on the website. It was just like they were uploading whenever like someone got picked. Yeah. They would upload the name. So we're going. It gets to Vancouver. I'm like, oh, here we go. And I'm just waiting. And Andrew's mom was the first one to see it. And she jumps up screaming. And then obviously I knew by that point. So really happy. My mom was watching it on live on at work. So she like told her boss, like, listen, my son's draft is tonight.
Yeah.
Can I please have the phone? She's like, yeah, go. So everyone at her work knew. And my dad was actually flying to New York to visit my sister. So he's in the plane and has no idea what's going on. And I'm like, Dad, the draft's tomorrow. He's like, oh shit. Like, no, I can't miss this. I'm like, Dad, don't worry. So he's in the plane. So he didn't find out till he landed.
Oh, he didn't buy. Could you buy the Wi-Fi? Or?
I think so. He was somehow he had service because he was texting us. And so we had a group, and then we let him know in the group. But he didn't like see everything. But so that happened. So that was January 2020. So I had an idea the day before. Didn't tell anyone. So that was a Friday. I think the following Friday I had to leave for preseason.
Yeah, wow.
So the quick turnaround.
That's so cool. What was going through your head at this time? Because I know, like, I mean, obviously being drafted is such a big milestone. It's very exciting, but at the same time, it's like it's also the work is like about to start.
Oh,
you know.
No. So I remember my coach at FIU called me. He was one of the first people to call me. He goes, hey, your biggest challenge starts now.
Yeah.
And I knew that. And that's one of the big things about MLS. Getting drafted doesn't guarantee you anything besides preseason. And I knew that I had to get to work. The next day at training, I was right back to training. I had the champagne, popped the champagne, happy with everyone. But then I knew I had to get back to training, get back to work. And it was a very euphoric moment. And I don't think there's any other way to describe it. Like, it's one of the things, like everything in my life felt like it was going in the right spot at that time. And I was very happy, but I was also excited to take on this challenge. And I was really, really happy and knew it was going to be a hard work, and it was time to go.
No, I always think that's so funny too, because most people, like, either signing their first contract or getting drafted or whatever, it's like exactly what you said, like euphoric. It's such an amazing moment, but then at the same time, you're like, okay, well, tomorrow it's not like, okay, we did it, like time to retire. No, it's like, okay, now tomorrow it's like, it's weird because you just get straight back into the routine again, you know, and you have this like weird balance of like, I'm doing everything still the same as I always did. Life hasn't changed, but like, yeah, it's, hopefully will. It's just very interesting. Yeah. Cool. So then a week later, you're out to Vancouver, huh?
Yep.
How was going from Miami Beach all the way out to Vancouver?
It was funny because I looked at it. I'm like, I got drafted to the furthest possible team from Miami. Like, I couldn't go any further.
Yeah. What is that, like 5,000 miles or something?
I don't know, but it's literally the complete opposite corner of the continent.
That's funny.
But it was good. And we flew over, got there. It was colder in Miami, but I didn't know this, but Vancouver is not that cold as the rest of Canada.
Yeah, Vancouver's nice.
You think of like, I've been to Montreal and I know it's freezing there, but they're like, oh yeah, it snows like once or twice a year here at most. I'm like, oh, okay then. Perfect.
Yeah. I was with Vancouver Whitecaps too during 2015.
Were you there when Alfonso Davis was there?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't know if that was 2015 or 2016 he was there.
I don't know.
I think it might. I think it was the year after. I think that he was there 2016.
Okay.
But yeah, I was there for only 3 days, and then there's like, no, thank you. Good run. But yeah. So how was preseason?
It was good. That's actually where I met Rodrigo.
Yeah.
So me and him were roommates when we were in Vancouver. So I got there and it was very like.
Isn't it funny too with how everybody's stories are like with coaches or with that, it's kind of like bing, and you kind of meet up again here, and it's so weird.
Yeah. So like me and Rodrigo met there. We were roommates and everything, Brazilians. So we clicked, got together. So it was very like exciting. Like I felt like a little kid. I'm just like, okay, yeah. Saw the facility. The first day we just like, oh, I just want to get started. The first day of training, it was, I remember it was probably like 30, 40 degrees, raining, brand new Adidas balls on turf. So it was slippery and everything. I'm like, oh my God. But it was good. It felt, I think the biggest thing I noticed quickly was the speed of play. It's a big difference in the speed of play. And that was the thing I had to adapt to the most. I think physically and everything else was good. I just need to get used to the speed of play. But it was good. So we did a week in Vancouver, and then we flew down to San Diego. We were in San Diego, and we played 2 games in San Diego. We played Columbus, then we played FC Dallas, and then we drove up to LA and played LA Galaxy. But it was good. It was a good experience, being in that environment, everything. My first professional environment, everything. It was fun. I enjoyed it. The facility there was nice and everything. We were in San Diego. So we were in a hotel for 2 weeks and everything, but we were at some college. I think it was
USD.
Yeah, I think it was USD. Nice facility and everything. Trained there. I enjoyed it a lot. I could feel myself after like just a few days starting to get used to the speed of play, getting used to it. I did well, everything. And then after the LA Galaxy game, Mark's like, hey, can we speak to you? And I'm like, okay. Came in and goes, hey, so obviously we know we brought you in as a number 2. And we think you're a phenomenal goalkeeper technically, but tactically you're not there yet. We think you need more experience. Which is one thing, like from a goalkeeper standpoint, I understand it. Like I said, experience is everything. That's why I go back to like, I think I got hindered by not playing as much. Yeah. But I get it. And they're like, yeah, I think we're going to, so they signed Brian Meredith. They actually brought him in towards the last few days I was there, who has been around the league a few years. Like, yeah, he's more older, more experienced. I think he'd be a good guy as a number 2. I'm like, okay, understand. Like we think we need to go USL and get a few games. But I think you have a good chance of getting back to this level. I'm like, okay, understood. And then the goalie coach Yusuf was like, yeah, technically you're great. You can do everything you need to. It's just technically you're great. You can do everything you need to. It's just the tactical side and the experience. So I'm like, I understand. It hurt, obviously. Yeah. Like it's also one of the things like, damn, like, but at the same time, it's like I understood where they were coming from. So, I forgot to mention this. So in the off season as well, I was training with in Miami. It was the first year as well, and they had the USL, and they had these training camps. The coach for the USL team was Jason Kreis, who has been around the league. He's been at one youngest coach to win MLS Cup, I think, with Real Salt Lake. He's been at NYC, Orlando, coach national. He's a U23 national team coach. He was our coach and leading these USL training camps, and because they wanted the USL team to be heavily Miami influenced. They wanted to have that culture in them. So they had me and a few other local guys. Andrew was there as well. So we were training. And then I remember the day of the draft, they made a group text and like, hey, guys, we're thinking about having 2 trainings this weekend. Let us know if you guys can make it. And me and Andrew were like, oh, we should probably wait to see if we before we respond. Yeah. So then I ended up getting drafted. I'm like, hey, I don't think I can make it. And he's like, oh, unfortunately for us, you're a Vancouver player and everything. So anyways, got cut from Vancouver, went back to the hotel. One of the first people I texted is Jason. I'm like, hey, Jason, it's Danny. Just wanted to let you know I got released from Vancouver. I want to know if you guys are still looking for a keeper or anything. This and that. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. When you come back in town, I'm like, I was leaving that night. I'm like, I'll be back tomorrow. He's like, okay, can you come to training on Thursday? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Went to training, spoke to him. I went to training. We trained. This was before USL preseason as well. So I was at Vancouver with Vancouver for a month. It's around February, and the USL League One preseason hasn't started yet. Because I think it started in like a week or 2. So we had the training, and then we played in Miami. We played the first team. They played 90 minutes against Charleston Battery. So I think they split it like 60-60. And then for the last, one team played 60, and the other team played the last 30 against Charleston. And they played another 30 against us. So I went there for that. But then they brought one of the first team keepers down to play. But then I spoke to the coach, and I'm like, hey, so. Charleston approached me as well about going on trial. I want to know. He goes, oh, we're going to give you an offer, this and that. So I ended up signing with Fort Lauderdale, in Miami's USL team there. Awesome. So right after Vancouver, I texted him right away.
Yeah. No, that's so cool too, because I think the best part again is like, as soon as, you probably hit one of your lows, like after being told, no, we don't want you, to immediately go and text to get another opportunity, because again, like, I mean, that's such another huge filter. So many players or coaches are just like, oh, Levi's coming. Yeah, he's coming. So many players at that moment will sulk for a week or 2 and might lose an opportunity, because it's not like jumping again, being proactive.
Oh no, I was just like, I was devastated. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. It was heartbreaking, but they're like, you need games. I'm like, okay, I need to go. I can't sit around. I got to try and find a team as quickly as possible. I need games. So I'm like, I started thinking, like, I haven't texted Jason.
Yeah.
And I was nervous to send a text. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't it funny you get like that anxiety whenever you send those texts?
No, exactly. I'm just like, I was embarrassed to tell people. I remember like for a good part of time, I didn't want to like, when I went back home, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want anyone to see me. I'm just like, I don't want people to know. I don't want people to know I felt bad. Like I was like embarrassed, and my friends were like, "There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like you made it farther than most people ever will get." But I'm just like, I still didn't make it.
Because it's not fun, you know.
I'm just like out, and my girlfriend at the time was just like, "Danny, like." I remember because she was still at FIU, and she wanted me to like spend the night. I couldn't because I'm just like, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want anyone to know. And I was just like, I shouldn't. There was nothing to be embarrassed about, especially because failing is a big part of succeeding and getting where you want to be. But I think it took me a long time to get over it. But and I think that hindered me in a lot of aspects of my life. That it took me a long time to get over. But I did quickly. I didn't want to sit there and sulk. While I may have not been fully over it, I know that I was doing what I could to get past it.
Yeah. And that's the key. Yeah. I, like very similarly again, like when I was in Germany and like I was coming up on my end of my tourist visa and I had this last team in the Regionalliga, the 4th division, that was like, kind of like, I don't want to say string me along, but I trained with them for like 2 weeks to the exhibition games. And the whole time the coach was like, we're going to sign you. And then he kind of even said, yep, come in the office, tomorrow to sign the contract. So I'm like, oh my God, this is my first pro contract. I'm so excited. And then I wait all day, never get that call. So I call him the next day, be like, hey, just checking in, like when you want me to come in to sign it. And I hear him just like sigh, and he gives this big like Matt, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no. And like basically sponsor backed out. But again, immediately it took me a full day. I had a full day of sulking. But like after that, like I was like, okay, no. I called the coach again back and said, hey, can you just put me another word? Like, obviously you rate me as a player. Do you have any contacts in the 5th division, 6th division, anywhere that you can help me out? And he's like, yeah, I can do that for you. And then that's how I got the team that I ended up signing with. But it was like the same thing, terrible moment. You sulk a little bit. You're not over it. Like I was still stinging from that, but create another opportunity as fast as you can.
Yeah, I actually read an interesting book recently called Winning by Tim.
I have that book on my nightstand on there.
I love Tim Grover. I read both of his books.
Relentless is my Bible.
I love his books. I love his mindset. I've listened to a lot of his podcasts and everything. And a big thing to talk about in winning is once you've won, you're back down to the bottom. It's the same thing. It's about, okay, you've done it. Can you do it again? And it's the same thing here. Like, I think it's a very big, okay, I made it. I got drafted. I wasn't able to do it again to get signed. But I'm all the way back down. I have to climb up. I can't stay back. I can't stay down in hell. I can't stay where I am. I have to move forward.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then, I mean, look, a week later, 2 weeks later, you're already getting like interest now from Charleston Battery, from Fort Lauderdale. Like it's very cool. And then so basically signing that first contract now with Fort Lauderdale, do you think it meant more now because you kind of got denied that first time with Vancouver, or like what were your thoughts on signing that?
I'll tell you what, I signed my first professional contract. It's something I dreamed of my whole life. And I remember I didn't smile when I was signing it because the Vancouver thing still stung in my head. And it was one of the things I told myself I never want to feel that again. And I knew Fort Lauderdale was like, okay, it's time to get to work. I have a long, my journey just got way bigger. The mountain to climb is way higher now.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense because it's like you had a taste of it. Now it's
that's all I want. I don't want to settle for anything else.
Definitely. And then you signed with Fort Lauderdale, like, is this February or?
Yeah, it's around February.
And then so when did preseason start, and what did you do before preseason?
I think it was like March 1st. And that we had like the training with I think they were training like every day now with like the local kids, and the last day they're like, okay, we're gonna text you guys whether we want you or not. And then the next day preseason started.
Gotcha. How was preseason with Fort Lauderdale and all that?
It was good. I really liked the coaches at Fort Lauderdale. I think they made my time there way more pleasurable, and I really liked the coaching. I think I learned a lot from all of them as coaches. So preseason. So at first the facility wasn't done yet. The Inter Miami facility wasn't done yet. So we're at this like local college turf that was really bad, but we're training and whatnot, and then eventually we get moved into the facility, which was great. And then we're about like 2 weeks away from our first game. We had a few preseason games, and then COVID hit.
Typical.
Yeah.
Classic.
So COVID hit. And then we were thrown into the unknown.
Uh-huh. What was going through your mind at that point? Were you just like, I can't catch a break? Like, were you just like, I can't believe this? Like, I remember when it happened to us, but what was going through your head?
It was a lot to comprehend. I couldn't,
because this is your first pro season, about to start.
I'm also thinking like, oh, we're gonna be in and out. Just I don't know how long it's gonna take, and then you realize, shit, it's gonna take a while to get out of this.
Yeah.
So I was just like, at first I'm just like, okay, we're gonna have like 1-2 weeks off, you know. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, okay, I'm grinding. We're doing our own individual workouts, doing all this and that. My ex girlfriend at the time was living with me, and she was a swimmer at FIU. So me and her would be working out together, this and that, and then realized, okay, this might take a little bit longer than you think. So then motivation started to die down, and then they started finally texting us like, hey, we're aiming for the state. So that's when we started having Zoom workouts, training on our own type thing. So one of my friends, Brian Silvestri, is a goalie for Miami FC. He's played around MLS and whatnot. He's at Miami FC right now. Uh-huh. And I'm texting him like, hey, are you in town? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to go train? So me and him would, during COVID, we'd go to like we'd try and find a local park that was open. Most of them were closed. I remember we would go to one until we get kicked out. Then we would go to the next park. And then until we got kicked out of there. And then eventually we were out there's like a park where like, wasn't even like soccer grass, just regular grass. And we're just going to do what we can. So me and him were training like every day until we started training back with our teams. And during that time, Andy, the guy at the gym, was also trying to help us work out. So I was doing some stuff with him, like secretly doing some stuff with him. Secretly goalie training.
Doing what you got to do.
So like, we were doing what we could to get that edge, get that step. And then we finally started individual trainings with the team, kind of just like, it was like, I think one person per like quadrant of the field.
Yeah, the quadrants.
It was whatever that was. And as a goalie, I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to train by myself? Yeah. So I'm just like diving on a stationary ball. That type thing.
That's funny. So, I mean, I think it's so, you kind of nailed it. Like the motivation really dies out once it's like, oh, we're not back in 2 weeks. And then I love that so many players again could have been like, oh no, I'll chill. I'm getting paid. Like, it's fine. I'll wait until we'll see what happens. It's a nice little vacation, but reaching out to get somebody else to help push you, to help do drills, it's not fun being a pro and going to a local park with divots and terrible grass and training. Like we did the same thing, and it's terrible.
So it was funny because at one point, John, my friend, has a Colorado. Yeah. He came home. He got permission from Colorado to come home. Mm-hmm. Came home. He's like, all right, let's play pickup. Let's schedule a pickup game. So all of us got together and put we started playing pickup at a local park. I think we'd play like at like 1 in the after. It was just brutal heat in Miami at that time. But we'd play because we'd train in the morning, then we'd go straight to pickup, or we'd play early in the morning before we had to do like our individual training and whatnot. Yeah. So we're out there playing like illegal pickup games. Like we almost got kicked out of the park like 2 or 3 times. Like one time the park ranger came. And John's like, no, I'm training for the national team, this and that. Guy let us by. And then one time, like, they called the cops on us. Yeah. And then we had to leave. And then but we were doing what we could to try and get together.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. And you just got to survive that moment. And then when you did have to train by yourself as a goalkeeper, like when you were doing the small group stuff, like what were you doing mainly? Like, what did your trainings look like?
So, like, our goalie coach would, like, they were pretty innovative with this stuff. So, like, one of the fields has, like a fence around it. Yeah. But the fence has about like 2-3 feet of concrete before it gets to the fence. So it's like the grass field and the little sidewalk and then the concrete. Yeah. So we like hit balls off the concrete for us to dive onto or for us to like do stuff. It was
it's like going back to the old school, like elementary school, middle school days of training by yourself and stuff.
We had a rebounder that was very difficult to use because if you didn't throw the ball perfectly, you have no idea where it's going. Yeah. But yeah, so it was just very interesting stuff. Lots of our feet as well, like especially bouncing off the wall. And I remember the field players had coolers. They had to get the coolers like the team uses, like the big square ones. They ordered enough of them so the player could like pass the ball off of that. So every player had like one of those in his quadrant as well.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then so we started back up in June, July.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the first game was July something.
First game was
we had the
July.
first game of the USL League One.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I watched that one.
We premiered, we played at the Inter Miami Stadium before Inter Miami. We had the first ever game there.
Yeah, I remember that. And then so how did the rest of the season go there?
So it was actually very unique.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use that word. It's
Okay.
very unique. So during this time when I was at Vancouver and everything, they signed another keeper to the USL team who was also supposed to be like the fourth keeper for the first team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now with the first team. So they were like, okay, he's going to be the number one. Like I said, I'm trying to get games. So me and him are there. Me and him have a good relationship as well. The same thing, like trying to push him and trying to fight for that spot as well.
Mm-hmm.
This and that. And then, so he's starting and I'm not really playing. And then they bring this 17-year-old from the academy to come play, train with us. Like, oh, he's just going to be here to get the experience, this and that. I'm like, okay, yeah. So he's there helping with us. And then at one point, we had, I think it was before the first game, we had an inter squad.
Mm-hmm.
And me and the goalie coach are watching video afterwards with the inter squad. How you did well. He's like, yeah, I think you're doing really well, and you're pushing. I think you're doing a great job of that, which pains me to tell you that. Like, there might be cases this season where the board wants us to take the 17-year-old from to get that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I understand. Like, it's like, I think the hardest part of last season was that I understood where the board was coming from because they're all about development. Because originally the team was supposed to be, I think we only had like, going into preseason, we had 10 signed players. The rest were trialists.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we ended up having like 13, 14 signed players.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was supposed to be like MLS guys coming down. But you weren't able to go up and down last year because of the bubble and everything like that. So they brought academy kids up. And a lot of academy kids got chances. And that's why I'm just like, damn, you guys are blessed. You guys getting this opportunity, this and that. And I don't think if you have a system, first team, second team, academy, the only team that should really care about winning is the first team. Mm-hmm. Everyone else should care about developing and try and get players to the first team.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that, which is why I understood what Fort Lauderdale was doing, but it just sucked because I was the one who took the toll for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the goalie coach was brutally honest with me. Like, listen, I want to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's right because you're signed and you're a player on this team, but you're going to be the one taking the hit. And there are going to be times where they're going to dress the 17-year-old. And I'm just like, I understand this and that. Then going, I think like a few games into the season, starting keeper gets injured. And I'm just like, okay, it's my chance. Doing well in training.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day before the game, the goalie coach came up to me and was like, and you could tell he was disappointed and sad. He was like, I know it's hard, but Andre's going to start tomorrow. And I'm just like it hurts me because it won't let me as a coach show you how much I'm developing you. And we talked about it. He's like, I'm here. Even if you just want to vent, I understand. I get it. So he played a few games. Other keeper came back. Then Luis Robles broke his arm of the first team. Mm-hmm. So they only had two keepers. So they took the keeper from my team, moved him up to train with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just me and the 17-year-old. But the 17-year-old was playing games. And it was hard because they know as a competitor and as a person, you want to play and you come in, work hard and everything. And every single coach on the staff at some point or another came up to me. Like, I remember one time we had training. I'm walking off. I didn't have a good training and so I'm frustrated. And this coach, Martin Patterson, playing the Prem, everything. And he had a lot of stories he could tell you. And he was a super nice guy. And that's one of the reasons I said, like, I love the coaching staff at Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. Came up to me like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. Like, no, Danny, really, how are you? Let's talk about it. And then we and him sat after training for like 40 minutes just talking about the situation. And I told him, like, listen, I think the worst part is I understand. Like, I get why the board's doing this. And I think they're good, but like it's pain. It sucks because like no matter what they pretty much tell me no matter what I do,
Yeah.
if I'm miles better, I'm not gonna play. And he goes, yeah. And then my only hope right now is to just work my ass off, and at the end of the year, you guys help me out, or just he like listen, keep doing what you're doing. You come in with a great paddle. It's like you come in with a great attitude every day, and we see it. We know you're not in a good, easy situation. And every coach has told me this. And the other assistant coach, Darren Powell, as well, who's been around, told me the same thing. We had the same conversation. Like, listen, you've been doing great, and your attitude is miles ahead of your age. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. At the end of the year, we're all going to help you move on. So then we didn't. USL League One last year, they only had the top 2 teams played a final. So we weren't going to qualify for that. So last game of the season came around, and the coaches decided to give me that game. They're like, hey, they went to the board like, hey, like Danny deserves this, and I was stoked, beyond honored. Like I got my first professional game, played really well. The coaches were happy, and then the goalie coach was like, you deserve this. You owned it. And all the coaches were happy for me. And then at the end of the year, we had our individual meetings, and the coaches were like, the coach told me like, listen, we want to offer you another year. It'd be a similar situation you're in now, but you work hard. You have a great attitude, and because of that, we want you back. But like, do we think? And I think he goes, not talking from a coaching standpoint, talking from as a friend, or like, I don't think it's best for your career.
Yeah,
I think it's I think not a lot, but I know not a lot of teams are looking for players right now. It's back in November.
Yeah,
like, I know not a lot of teams are looking for players right now, but we want to give you that offer because you deserve it. But you do what you think is best. And I said, okay. And then a few weeks later, Tulsa came and started talking to me. And I remember I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the offer. And then I called Jason. That was one of the other coaches that I had the individual meeting with, because Jason was with the national team at the time. So then Jason came, I called Jason. I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I got this offer for Tulsa. I think I'm going to take it because, honestly, yeah, I think that's great for you. You deserve it. Like, there were times this year where you were the best keeper and deserved to play, but I wasn't able to play you. So I'm happy for you. Wish you all the best. Don't stay a stranger. Everything. So, like, yeah, it was a interesting year. Unique. I learned a lot, again, about myself and about soccer, and saw a lot of the dark sides of the sport. And all my coaches, I am happy that all my coaches were there to support me and on my side with it all.
It sucks because, like, it's frustrating because it's like you came down to get experience, and then just because of circumstances a little bit outside your control, you're not able to get the experience of the games that you want. And it's always kind of like that's the toughest part about it, is like in today's game, or you're constantly in this battle between playing the best or developing the youth, or sometimes that's the same person, sometimes it's not, sometimes there's especially as you go higher and higher, and the players all become closer and closer from the first player, second player, third player, it becomes a lot of opinions or outside factors a lot. And I'm not going to say like, oh, the best player doesn't always, if you're with the best player, you're not going to have like the best opportunity to start, because you will, but there are other variables. Exactly.
And it's one of the things, like I said, I completely understood where they're going from. I even think that's the right way to go about it,
because that's what you even talked about in college, needing more games and experience. And it's just unfortunate, like, if that was you at 17, 18 now in college, getting games in, getting that experience, that'd be best for you and for the club.
And I look at it like, no MLS2 team is making money. They're not trying to sell tickets, do this and that. They're there to develop players, and most teams sign players, or they should. The players that they do sign that aren't academy kids should be players they have interest for their first team. And there are some MLS teams that are great at that in the country, but most aren't that way. And I do think it should be that way. It's just one of the things, like, it was like a situation like, hey, then why sign me then? Just to put me in. And they didn't know about this at the time. They signed me. I hope they didn't. But I do think they went about it the right way.
That's good.
They're
professional about it. From what you said, from just the short conversations you've talked about with the coaches, even those conversations are huge.
If I never had that conversation, they just left me in the blank.
Yeah,
it would be a different story. And I think my goalie coach I loved working with his goalie coach as well, and he was very helpful throughout it all. And he was the first one to come up to me. Like all the coaches was really good, and I think Paolo, like the one that played in the Prem, he had an interesting story as well. Like he was playing in the Prem, got injured and all this stuff, and he always be like pissed off if he didn't play. And he really wants to help teach people, not from where he went wrong. That's what he's really big on, and I really saw that in him, and him helping me with that.
Yeah.
And I think the coaches being the way they were, like I said, I loved the coaching staff there. Whether from what I learned from them and how they helped me in my situation, I really enjoyed it. And I don't think it would have been as good of an experience if it wasn't for them and them helping me through this.
Yeah, no, that's really good then. One thing that happened to me was like with after my rookie season with Orange County Blues, had like 16 games in, just starting to get my foot into the pro door. I really wanted to go back home and go to Portland Timbers 2 and get into like an academy, or not academy, the MLS 2 team set up to try to push up. And I was really, really trying to get into the Portland Timbers 2. And the coach there talked to him, he was so, I honestly, I've never even talked about this, but he was so open and honest to me, straight up on the phone. He said, look, love to have you, definitely interested, but I want to let you know right now you're 23 and we have a 17-year-old that we have in a fullback right now, and our goal is developing him. And right now I'm going to tell you, it's not going to come down to who's better that day or that week. It's going to be who we want to develop for that first team role. And so I said, thank you very much. And I went completely different direction.
No, that's how
that conversation saved me.
That's how you want it to be. You want coaches to be honest and upfront with you.
Yeah. Because he could have easily said, yeah, for sure. And then not mention that. And it'd been tough. But like, it's so good that for the most part, a lot of coaches they have the best interest of their team in mind, but they also are good people trying to have the best interest for the players as well.
Yeah, that's how it should be. Like, you will find a lot of coaches like, oh, what can you do for me? Or and they just think about, okay, I need to, my job's on the line. It's their career too.
Yeah,
we have to understand that as well. Their job on the line, they have to do what's best for them. Oh, this player is good. Maybe we're not going to use him, but we want him in case type thing. It's some coaches are like that, some aren't, and you just have to hope you get the right one.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you got the interest from Tulsa then. Did that come about from your agent, or how did that?
Yes, I came from an agent. Yes.
So you got that offer. It came at a good time. It seemed like when you were making this. So yeah, it
came like, cause they told me about the meeting. So I had the meeting. They told me they gave me the offer again. But we're gonna let you stay on it. They didn't make anyone make a decision. They didn't make anyone make a decision or anything, or they never came back to me asking for a decision.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play it out. Obviously, shop around. I was talking to Austin Bullet for a while, but they were just like I think they wanted to wait to sign players. They wanted to figure out what they're doing with preseason and everything. And I also heard they were bringing an MLS keeper on loan. And I'm like, I don't know what the situation's gonna be with that, if I'd be able to play or not. Had a few teams. Miami FC was an option as well. And then Tulsa came in and gave me the offer, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. And then for that off season, did you do the same thing, just training in Miami?
Yeah, so training in Miami. This was the off season where I had goalie training last year as well. This is the off season where we started bringing in field players.
Okay, yeah.
And this is a big thing. We had a good group of us, field players and goalies, training, and then we'd go from training there and go train and then we go to the gym, and then we play pickup at night. So this was like especially since the off season was 4 months long.
Yeah.
And John was preparing for a national team camp because he had the January national team camp he was going to. So we all had like, okay, I'm going to Tulsa and everything. Nick was going to Nashville for the first time, so we were all grinding this off season. It was a good off season.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, it's always good too, especially more last year than ever before, but like to have a 4-month off season, kind of like with the quarantine where it's like you start to lose motivation. You can only be doing stuff by yourself for so long before you start to go crazy. And like, I think it's so good to find a group that pushes each other, because you know, you'll go out that one day, you're not really feeling it, and all of a sudden someone's beating you and you're like, okay, I got to step it up now.
Yeah.
So having a good group to train with, and that wants to do the workks, wants to do the pickup games, wants to do the training sessions, it's awesome.
It was funny because we had so John was in the bubble since he was MLS at the time. Was in the bubble all year. And he's like, "Oh, it's off season. It's time for me to go out. Like I've been locked in."
Yeah.
So and then we had some of us would go out on like a Tuesday and train on Wednesday. I'm like, "No, if you're going out, you come to training." And I would always show up to training. My entire career of soccer, I've always been one. I'm like, I'm not gonna drink before training or anything like that. I've never done that. And then this off season, the first time I was just like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm like, no, I'm still going to training. And then I would talk shit to the other person who didn't go to training.
Yeah. No,
I remember it was one day I got like 2 hours of sleep, and I was out there. I'm gonna get my ass through this workout. But I'm just like, if anyone else misses the training for something unexcusable, I'm getting on them for that.
Yeah.
And they always got annoyed that I was like that, but I'm just like, nah, you come to training.
No, it's important too. Like in off season, it's a hard balance of like, this is your time to enjoy life, to enjoy family, to not be on a regimented schedule. But at the same time, if you go overboard on that, now you're not going to be this. And it's like, so you kind of do need to find your balance of like the right amount of training, workouts, grinding, with also enjoying life, leisure, where it's like it works for you, so that you're also going to be mentally sane for the whole next season.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be physically ready, mentally sane. It's a weird balance. Off season never really is fully off, but at the same time, if you're too strict about it, then you're going to lose your mind, because you're like, wow, you're going to get burnout.
Exactly. So it's one of the things like I think we did it pretty well this year, because like, okay, season ended. I think we did like 1 or 2 weeks off. No soccer, no football.
Yeah.
Don't touch the ball. Don't do anything. If you want to go lift or do something, no soccer though.
Yeah.
Then we trained for a good amount of period. Came the holidays. We would train like in between like Christmas and New Year's and whatnot. And then I got sick at one point in January, and I'm like, oh shit, I got COVID.
Yeah.
I went, got tested, double negative. I'm like, okay, perfect. 2 negative tests. I'm like, but I just took like that week off, you know? Because I was sick.
Yeah.
And then I get back, and it helped me, because I'm like, okay, time to get back. And then I got back into it, back at it. And then my coach was like, I think we have a good system now, where we would go, get a week off like towards the middle, then go again, and then like and then 1 week before. So then 1 week before I came to Tulsa, or like 2 weeks before I came to Tulsa, my goalie coach was back at Miami FC, so he couldn't coach. Nick was at Nashville already. Andrew was at Greenville already. And so it was just me and John. We're just like, well, what are we going to do for training? So we're at the gym. So I went 1 week where I didn't touch a ball. And I'm just like, shit. Like, I go to Tulsa too. And like, I went like one Monday through like Friday, didn't touch a ball, because everyone was gone as well. Like the pickup people were all gone.
Yeah.
And then, but we were in the gym. And then and John started training with Nova, because if we had, we know the coaches at Nova. And they didn't have a season, so it didn't really matter. They were just training, so it didn't really matter if John came in. And I'm just like, damn, I need to get some training in. So I started reaching out to goalie coaches, and I ended up training with one, Ronald, a local goalie coach who's good as well. And I was training with him, and then like, so I went like a week, and then I trained with him, I think like Monday through Thursday, left Friday for Tulsa.
Dang.
But like, if it was I think it was a good thing. Like, you make a thing like, I should be touching up all other things, but I think like it was good to get that relaxation. I was still working out, so my muscles were still going through stress and everything. But then like the last week was just touching up the technique and everything. And then when I got here, I felt good. I think I think we have a good system for next year as well.
Yeah. I do something very, very similar to like take 10 days off as soon as the season ends. I try to do 2 weeks. I never make it 2 weeks. Like, I'm just going to do something.
Yeah.
But 10 days. Yeah, I take 10 weeks off in off season, 10 days completely off. And then I train hard Monday through, I almost get on like a work schedule. Like, that's
Monday
what works
through Friday,
for me. Monday through Friday.
Off.
Exactly.
And,
it's so nice, because then my family's off, Mimi's family's off. And it's like, I can go golfing. I can go enjoy, go to brunch.
I think it's a good balance to get the weekends off, because you're not going to get weekends off in season. And that's when, like, if you want to do that ignorance that that you can't during season, that's the time to do it.
Yeah. And like, it's not saying that I always tell myself too, like, if I really want to do something on Saturday, Sunday, for sure, go out and train. But most of the time it's like, I don't feel guilty because I'm grinding Monday through Friday. So it's like my body's screaming for the day off. So I like that. And then Thanksgiving, I take like 5 days off because I usually on vacation with my family. And then Christmas, I'll take like, actually this Christmas I didn't take off because I was doing this, like, the 75 hard challenge. It's like this, like I'd made my own challenge where it was like, I have to do 2 45-minute workouts every single day, but it could be yoga or a walk, or it could be as intense as a 45-minute lift and a full 3-hour training session or something. But like, I had to do 2 workouts every day, had to read 10 pages a day, had to go and meditate for 10 minutes. So it was like, I had this challenge and I did it every single day for the whole December. Okay. Loved it. But then I needed about a week off after that. But it was cool to do. So then anyway, now going into Tulsa, how's the transition coming out here? Because now this is the first time that you've played outside of Florida.
Yeah, so that was a big thing. I'm just like, my sister always talks about like, oh, you're never going to leave Miami. Yeah. Like, I thought I was getting away to Vancouver. Then I ended up coming back to Miami. And it's like, so it's different. I've never been opposed to it, but I've never actually done it.
Yeah.
So my first time in Tulsa is a complete like 180 from
quieter, smaller.
From Miami. Like I said, off season, we like, because Miami's one of the only places that open, but Miami's open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You can go out multiple places and have a great night during the weekend. I
go to 11 or something. Yeah. On a Tuesday night.
Oh, you have no idea.
That's funny. Yeah, so it's completely different, but yeah, how was did you move all your stuff out here? How did you?
No, so I left some stuff with my dad. I moved I flew out, and then I was originally going to drive over here so I could have my car. And then my mom and her boyfriend love doing like road trips. Yeah. And she mapped it like, oh, if we go, I can stop here and there. I'm like, do you want to do a trip? She's like, yeah, I can do it and take your car. So I'm like, okay. So I flew here with 2 suitcases, and my mom brought my car with the rest of my stuff and my dog. I think I had like 1 like bin of things and then like some kitchen stuff, but like I didn't want to bring too much.
Who is your roommate at the?
It was Leo.
Okay, it was Leo. Yeah. And then so with the dog too, was it your family's dog or?
No, it was mine. So I adopted him. He was 2 months old my freshman year of college.
Okay.
And got him at 2 months, and he's been with me ever since.
Did you just want a dog or what?
I wanted a dog.
Yeah. In college, that's like unique. Most college players are like, I don't want responsibility right now.
I want a dog.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it helps. Like, yeah, you don't want responsibility. You want to be able to have fun. But I think like having him has taught me a lot because I have to be responsible. Because I'm also it's not just my life. I'm taking care of someone else's life as well, which is his. And I think it really helped me with learning a lot about myself and just being disciplined and everything. So I got him. I got him registered as an ESA so he can live with me in college on my college dorms and everything. And then he came with me as well.
That's cool. I do. I mean, now I have 2 cats now, Levi and Gucci, but like I love it. It's so nice. Like it's just it's like mentally it's really.
Oh no! Plus when I get home and I open the door and I just see him wagging his tail, and he's so happy. Yeah, you never find someone who loves you as much as like your pets.
Yeah. Especially dogs. Dogs are so funny. No, they're just so happy all the time. Yeah. Oh, I want a dog. It's just. Yeah, I always even with the cats, I was like, no, I don't want responsibility. Like Gucci found on the randomly outside in winter, just like like a little kitten and try to find its owners, never found anything, so we just adopted that. And we got Levi like last week at the Humane Society, but it is nice. So how's the full like transition now? I mean, you've been kind of popping around to different teams and everything, but how's it been in Tulsa?
I like it. It's still very different than Miami, and truth be told, I haven't really gone out and seen much. I have seen some things, but I feel like I haven't really experienced it yet, despite being here for 5 months now. But I think like it's a different, but I think it's a good different. It's like I wanted to experience this because living in a big city my whole life, I kind of wanted to get away and get a smaller town, get used to it, everything. And
I've lived in like a village as small as 500 people in Germany, and I've lived in like Frankfurt. I've lived in big cities and everything. It's good to have different experience because then you like it's like little pros and cons about everything. And
so, which one do you prefer?
When I was younger, the big city was like I loved to be in a big city. But then like I think now Like, I mean, I think ideal city, San Diego. Like, it's not,
Okay.
I guess San Diego would be a big city, but be a little bit outside of San Diego.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
where
no.
I'd want to like
Okay.
finish.
So yeah, like Plantation, where I grew up, is a suburb of Fort Lauderdale, which is so it's not like as hectic as Miami. But then when I went to college, I was in Miami. And I think I always said like Miami is a place to be in your 20s.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to grow like to raise a family there.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
I want to be somewhere more calm. Maybe not as small as Tulsa, but not as big as Miami or like New York or anything.
Yeah. No, but the village of 500 people in Germany, I lost my mind. I was losing my mind, especially when it's so cold outside too. Because it's not even like you're like, do I want to go put on my jacket when it's snowing outside and get a walk? Like, no, you're like, I'm just gonna stay inside.
No, yeah. When I was playing in Germany, I never mentioned that. So I played in Germany for a little bit.
I was like, whoa, where did this
so
come
I
from?
didn't mention this. When it was one summer. I think I don't know if it was a summer. I think it was a summer for my senior year. My team, like my plantation team, put together a team to go to Germany. I was like 17 at the time. This was 2014.
Yeah.
So we went there and we played a few different teams in Germany. So we to go on to see to try and showcase ourselves and try and see if any teams would be interested.
Yeah.
So we went. I was in Munich and Berlin, mostly Munich and Berlin. So we were in Munich for the first, like I think it was let's say a 2.5 week trip. For the first like week we were in Munich, then the next week we were in Berlin. But we played was it 1816 Munich or something like that.
Yeah, 1860.
Yeah, 1860 Munich. We played them. The two biggest teams we played were probably them and Hoffenheim.
Okay.
And we went on trial there. I did really well at Hoffenheim, which is the only team that really showed interest. And then we played one team in Austria, and then we came back. So I forgot to mention that. So I did do that when I was, which was a cool experience as well.
That's awesome.
But Munich. So we were in a small city just outside of Munich. So I get what you're saying. It was very small. Like you could,
little village, everything. Yeah, no, that's funny. You're like, yeah, when I was living in Germany, at first I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, I completely forgot to mention. So yeah, I was in Munich.
I was like, wait, I don't remember covering that.
No,
that
I
year.
was in Munich. I was in Munich for one summer. And then,
Munich's cool. I really like Munich.
No, but when we went to the actual city, I'm like, oh, this place is awesome. And then Berlin was very unique too and very cool, like to go to.
Yeah, I love Germany overall. Okay, so now that pretty much brings us to today. Now I like to finish the podcast by asking 3 questions, pretty simple questions about your career. So the first question is, we talked a lot about highs and lows for your career. I say like your career is always like a roller coaster and you always have to ride out the highs and the lows. What do you think has been your absolute highest high and your absolute lowest low?
It's funny how you say like a roller coaster. My roller coaster used to always say peaks and valleys. I think my absolute highest high is probably getting drafted. Definitely the way I felt there. Playing my first game was definitely up there as well, but I think that moment it was a very euphoric moment when I got drafted. And then playing my first game was up there too. My lowest in professional or just overall?
Overall.
Lowest low. I want to say it was my lowest low might be that season where I only played 2 games, and I was going because I remember like that was a point in time where I was focused on myself and not the team. The team is doing phenomenal. I remember my friends saying like everyone enjoyed 2017 except for me.
Yeah,
because we're winning left and right. Where we won a conference division. We got our rings and everything. And I'm out there like, nah, I'm not enjoying it. Like, I'm not playing. I'm not this and that. And I hated I wasn't playing. And I remember just mentally it was so tough for me. And I think that was probably one of my lowest lows. And then, but what I've learned from that and how I got over it definitely helped me get to where I am today and push me better.
Definitely. Awesome. And then if you could have like a time machine now, you could walk into a time machine, you can go back to a younger version of Danny. What age would you go back to? And then what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Is this about soccer or about life?
Whatever you want. Would you go back to that year in college and talk to yourself then, or would it be a different time?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think about all the time. Like, damn, if I could go back to the preseason in Vancouver, I would do it. am I talking to my younger self, or am I like becoming my younger self?
You're giving advice to your younger self.
Okay, to give advice. I think I would go back to when I want to say in high school.
Okay.
And I think one of the things I would try and tell myself is that I'm going to fail. And that's how I'm going to win, is through failing. And shit's going to suck sometimes. And it's going to be brutal, and it's going to be hard to get up in the mornings. But getting up is what gets you going. And one thing Tim Grover talked about in his book was just like about everyone said when you get knocked down, get back up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you want to just take a second before you get back up and think, why did I get here? And what do I do to not get here again? Mm-hmm. So it's not about just getting right back up. It's about learning from it and really learning from my mistakes and doing that. Obviously, I'm going to tell myself, work on this, work on that.
Yeah.
But take this opportunity, take that opportunity. But I would just like, in terms of life, I would just say like, listen, it's going to be okay to fail. It's okay to fail. It's going to be frustrating as hell. Mm-hmm. But don't let it stop you from getting where you want. And if you really want to get to pro level, whatever in life, it's going to be hell. You're going to have to go through some of the toughest battles in your life, but it'll be worth it if you stick to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. That's good. And then my final question is, now, like most people listening to this podcast are, younger players or right at that semi-pro level trying to break into the pro level. What advice would you have to them so that they can follow in your footsteps? Would it be similar to what you would say to yourself, or would it be something different?
To them, I mean, I think a lot of what I said will be similar. Mm-hmm. But I think they just can't be afraid to try and bet on yourself. I think knowing yourself is very important. Mm-hmm. And knowing, okay, maybe I'm not ready because of this and that, is very important. But also knowing that at some point or another, you're going to have to bet on yourself. And that's the most important bet you're ever going to make. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you're going to have to grind through it. And you're not going to have to love the hard work. You're going to have to crave the end result. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, you want that end result so badly that you're going to go through some grueling workouts, go through some days you're going to wake up and be like, I don't want to get up. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some days you're like, I don't feel like working out. And I believe David Goggins said it was like, every engine needs a small spark to fuel. I think every rocket needs a small spark to fuel to start the fire. Mm-hmm. Just little accomplishments that get you, and it translates to little accomplishments that get you along the way.
Yeah. That's big. Like it's even like with training, like every day, like you're not doing anything. You're not reinventing the wheel when you go out and train in the morning. It's just doing basic stuff, but you're just doing it every single day. And it leads up to big, improvements over the long term,
Michael Jordan started every practice with a basic chest pass.
Just
to get that basic fundamental down and build it up to the next part.
Best basketball player in the world, just passing it. Like that's crazy. And then also too, like betting on yourself, like it's huge. Like I get questions so many times like, Matt, how do I know I'm at the D1 or level? How do I know am I at the D2 level? Like you don't. Like you just have to go and try. Like you just have to go email D1 coaches, email D2, attend ID camps, try to get recruited, reach out to them, and you'll see, like you'll fall, at a team, and then that's where you should be, and maybe not. Then you just keep pushing higher.
If you get to a D1 team and then you realize like, shit, they're way better than where I thought I'd be, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But now it's time you realize I have 4 years. Mm-hmm. I got to make it worth it. And I remember telling freshmen this when I remember hearing this my freshman year and repeating it my senior year to the freshmen, that college goes by so fast. Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling you, I can already tell professional careers go by so fast and everything. I still remember the first day walking into my college locker room, and I remember the last. Mm-hmm. And it flew by. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to realize until you get to the latter half to like, shit, this is ending. Don't take it for granted. Don't take the time you have for granted. and it's a big thing. And like you said, like you're never gonna know till you get there. Okay, some people get there and they think, yes, I've made it. This is where I need to be. And some people get there and be like, no, I want to be there. And it's depending on the person you want. If your goal is to play college soccer and you've made it, congratulations. You can. But if you want to aspire to be a pro, and then you get to college, and then you think okay, I made it, this and that, you're never gonna get to the next level. It's always about chasing that next win, that next level. Okay, I made it to college. Can I make it to pro now? What do I gotta do to get pro? Okay, I made it to a pro. What I gotta do to get to the next division, to the next league, to win a championship? Okay, I've won a championship. What can I do to do it again? You can never settle.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things you can ever learn is that, and once you settle, you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah. Once you stop doing like the extra stuff and doing all that, you're just done. Like you're done. Awesome. Yeah, no, this is a great podcast. Do you have any other things you want to say now that you're on the famous Against All Odds podcast?
Work for what you want in life and don't be afraid to take risks. If you really want something, you're going to have to work for it. And the most important things in life worth having are going to be work, whether that's becoming a professional athlete, a relationship, family, friends. It's all work, and some of it's more enjoyable than the others, but at the end, I think it'll be worth it.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast,
Thank
Danny.
you for having me.
I'll put all of your social media stuff in the description. Are you okay if people reach out to you and if they have any further questions? All right. So if you guys are listening, you want to reach out to Danny, DM him on Instagram or reach out to him wherever. And we'll go from there. So thank you so much for listening to the Against All Odds podcast. Once again, thank you, Danny.
Thank you again for having me.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.